Good evening. Welcome to our Friday fly-in. Tonight we are continuing the Cuban bush trip from our last stream, so we have 3 more legs to go. I have a lot more energy than I had last time, so hopefully we won't overstress the aircraft. Lucky is with us. So, let's just check my angles on my other camera. Probably don't want you to see the screen. There we go, that's good. I'll move my drink out of the way of the shot. And so 948 is where we got to on the last stream. I don't know if you remember, somebody kept subscribing and unsubscribing, and that hit 948. So after the stream last time, either they subscribed and left it alone, or somebody else subscribed. But Lucky has had a number of treats over the last couple of days between our streams, so we will start as 948 as our baseline and take it from there. If we get above that, that will then count as new subscribers for Lucky's Treats. He's staring at me trying to figure out how to get them already. I'll turn that background noise down just a little bit, feels a little bit loud for me. As always, if you don't like the music, put skip in the chat and we will skip to the next song. I'm just going to put a reminder in the chat as a poll for people to like and subscribe so it saves me saying it all the time. And oh, it's let's get this thing started up again. Interesting. So avionics was over here. I remember from last time now. But we had to put the battery on. There we go. Avionics on. Engines are starting. So much faster than last time. Get ourselves up and running. We'll wait for the AHRS to align. I'll give people time to jump in and join the stream. And once that's aligned, we'll get our flight plan set and we will be off. So yep, this is, someone remind me, leg 5 of the Cuban bush trip. So I'll just check that everything is working. That's good. It's good. Let's move my stream deck a bit closer for my autopilot controls. Okay, cool. So we will have our cruising altitude, unless otherwise forced to change it, at 3000. We will climb out at 1000 feet per minute. Let's check our nav here. So we can see we're pointing at localizer 1. We want this to be GPS to follow the flight plan. So we'll hit CDI twice and you'll now see it's pointing to GPS and turned pink. So that's that. And our first point of interest is point of interest 25. So to make sure that we're pointing there, which we're not. So let's go there. Menu. Activate that leg. Point the GPS. So if you see at the top here, where it now says GPS, it used to say roll. That means it's going to follow that flight plan once we have taken off. So let's get this bird in the sky. Airspeed is alive. rotate. Positive rate of climb. 500, flaps out. And just as we reach about 1,000, autopilot on, external view. Let's go. Don't sink, don't sink. Sometimes the trim and the autopilot takes a second or two to catch up. There we go. Interesting enough, there's a few other people flying in this area tonight. They don't appear to be flying the bush flight, so they're just having some fun. Somebody's in a Boeing B738, someone's in a Typhoon, and MSR Poet. I can't exactly see the G39. Yeah, okay. So none of them are in the Cessna Caravan. They're all just flying about. I don't know if you all saw my short earlier in the week. My my LTT swag came. It's not swag. I had to pay for it. But yeah, I got a couple of LTT hoodies. I got my Linus screwdriver and my Linus backpack. So the purpose of all of that, really, Linus had announced that the WAN hoodie, which is this orange one behind me here, was not going to be available anymore, and I wanted it, so I bought it. It was discounted, and then I got kind of click happy in the shop and ended up getting some more stuff. But the backpack is much bigger than my other backpack, and when I go to London, I usually only take 1 or 2 days clothes with me because I'm only going for a couple of days, and taking a whole suitcase with me feels like well, it's just an extra thing to carry and drag along the streets. So having a bigger backpack that has a big middle compartment that I can fill with clothes and other gear, not just my laptop, will hopefully mean I don't have to take the suitcase with me and I can just carry everything on my back. So very excited about that. Don't forget you can change the stream quality up to 1080-60. It might have defaulted to a lower quality for you. I'm just seeing that in my playback. So make sure you are watching the stream at the full 1080-60 quality. I'll probably watch it at something like 360 because I don't want to kill my uploads by re-downloading my own stream. Okay, we are now at cruise altitude, so we're going to pull the engine back because we don't want to overstrain it. I'm going to feather a little bit of the prop again, just to make sure we're not overstressing anything too much. And let's have a look at the navlog, see what we're going to be looking at today. If anybody does want to fly along with us this evening, we are on the West Europe server for Flight Simulator 2020, so yeah, join us. And as I say, we're on the 5th leg of the Cuban bush trip, so let's see what we're doing. We are now on a course 194, which means we're on point 2 of this leg. So we are continuing to the south after passing over Santa Clara, following the Santa Clara Mani-Carigua highway to the town of Matagua. Total flight time on this leg estimated about 24 minutes, of which we're about 4 minutes in. I expect if we are going to fly over those mountains ahead of us, we are going to have to climb a little bit, but it is possible that we go to the mountains and make a turn and go around them, so I will cross that bridge as I get closer to it. I'll just have a quick check down the flight log, because usually if you do have to fly over them, it will tell you what their tallest peak is, so you can set your altitudes. Well, it looks like we're going over the coast. Yeah, fine, no worries. Hey Lucky, do you want to go in your place? Good boy. Down. Down. Good boy. Okie doke. So, how's everyone's week been? I don't know if you're anything like me, but my week has been incredibly stressful at work. End of the month, start of the next month. So a bunch of folk chasing me for things, and it'll be nice to relax with some of these amazing views this evening. Went with the wife to see Migration at the cinema. It's a kids movie about birds that are migrating down to Jamaica. It was okay. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Started strong and then kind of got a bit boring about midway to halfway through, yeah. Okay, making our left turn now. So, Manny-Caragua, following the Santa Clara Manny-Caragua highway to the south, pass over the low Sierra de Potriello, a line of hills that is part of the greater Escambray Mountains. Continues south to reach Manny-Caragua, a city nestled in the Escambray Mountains that is known for its tobacco and coffee production. Manny-Caragua is renowned as one of the most beautiful locations in Cuba. Again, I might move the navlog over to the left when I'm expanding it so that you all can see that. Sometimes there's just a bit too many things on my stream, but I do want to give you all the most opportunity to see the scenery as we go. And yeah, shout out to these other pilots that are flying in the area. Highly doubtful that they are watching my stream, but if they are, shout out to them. But it's busy. It's busy tonight in this area. These mountains are not particularly high actually. R3000 might be fine. Might go to 4 just for safety, just to give us a bit of clearance. Slow rate climb, 500 feet per minute should be fine. And I won't change any of our throttle or anything settings because I don't mind losing a bit of time for that climb. Okay, course over to 202. Should say 202. So we're now heading towards Hanabanilla Lake, over the city of, I'm going to stop saying that wrong, gain a visual on the Topes Highway, which strikes south onto the Escambray Mountains. Parallel the general trend of the highway, remaining to its west, and gain a visual on Hanabanilla Lake, Lago Hanabilla, a large reservoir. Increase altitude due to increasing height of the peaks to the south, and fly over the eastern end of the reservoir near its dam. Hanabilla Lake is a popular tourist destination in Cuba due to its beautiful mountains and surroundings. So we are climbing. I think we're okay, but maybe because it's warning us, let's go to 5,000. We'll add a little bit of power in for that climb now then. Because it was going to be an extended climb, I don't want us to increase the flight time too much. But we'll not climb it too fast a rate, because I'm not particularly worried. I think we're already high enough. I'm just wanting to make sure we have our safety margins. So the Microsoft team did have a stream tonight, but as I missed it because I was at the cinema. But they were not doing their Fly Around the World stream, they were just doing a show and tell of the New World Update, which is effectively what we're doing just now anyway. They were just flying around the Caribbean islands and things that they've done in this World Update that we are showing you in this stream anyway, so you didn't miss anything there. As I say, I am going to try, I'm not going to promise every week, because, you know, life gets in the way and sometimes I have to go and spend time with friends and family, but whilst Microsoft are doing those streams on Friday night, which is the community fly-ins, I am going to try and join as many of them as possible. So book your calendars out. I think they start around about 8 o'clock on a Friday night, so yeah, we will try to set a somewhat regular cadence of doing that, but as I say, tonight we couldn't. Tonight we had to start a little bit later, which is why I thought it made sense to continue the Cuban bush trips from last time, because I haven't phoned since then. I want to take you on the journey and make sure that it's all streamed for viewing on demand on my channel as well. So we are now heading to point of interest 29, Trinidad. Over the lake, turn onto a course just east of due south and climb to an altitude of at least 3,000 feet above sea level. We're at 5,000 feet, so we're fine. Gain a visual on the Caribbean Sea in the distance and the southern coast of Cuba. After passing, actually, are we at altitude? I should pull the engine back a bit so I don't overstress the aircraft. Good call. Gain a visual on the Caribbean Sea in the distance and the southern coast of Cuba. After passing over the crest of the Escambray Mountains, descend in altitude towards the sea. Sight the hook-shaped Acon Beach, a long sand pit that forms Casilda Bay. The city of Trinidad, renowned for its sugarcane production, is located on the shores of Casilda Bay. Maintaining a course to Trinidad, pass by the western margin of Valley de los Ingenios. Apologies, a big sorry for screwing up all these names. The Valley of the Sugar Mills, a complex of 3 valleys. Valley de los Ingenios was once homes to more than 50 sugarcane mills. The United Nations designated Trinidad and Valley, I'm not going to try that again, a World Heritage Site, as is one of the best preserved sugarcane centres throughout the Caribbean. It probably took me longer to say that than it'll take us to do this leg of the journey. Either way. How are we doing? We could probably put a bit more in. And okay. Good. I know the camera's not at my most flattering angle, by the way. I had feedback on that. I need to figure out where I can, or I need to get like a third camera, because I think I just hit this on the last stream. I need a camera on my screens for work week so I can have just a face cam. I've got the camera for Lucky, and then I move the camera from there to there for the streams because I think that you like to see the controls. Problem with that is now you're looking basically up my nose, which is probably not ideal for everyone. So I need to figure out the best angle where you can see the controls and me, but that it's not a down angle looking up. But we'll cover that in future streams at some point. It's not pressing right now. If I get tired of being on camera, or if you get tired of seeing me, I can just turn it off and leave you looking at Lucky. Okay, so we're over most of those mountains now. Let's start our descent. So we'll pull the engine back. We will start descending back down to 3,000. So you can see that on the bottom right of the screen. I've now selected 3,000. And I'm now telling my vertical speed to come down at 500 feet per minute. It will balance out at that once it's sorted it. I'm just making sure I'm not overstressing the aircraft. This aircraft, the Caravan, Cessna Caravan, is extremely prone to overstressing. It does not take being mishandled or mistreated particularly well at all. So towards the end of my 4-hour stream, or however long it was on, was it Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday. I was so tired that yeah, I just left it at full throttle, and we were stressed the aircraft twice. That was just my negligence because I was tired. But we will not do that tonight. So move this up a little bit because I want to see what the engine things are doing, so I can keep an eye on that. Point of interest 30. Camilo Cienfuegos. After passing over Trinidad, turn onto a northwestward course and follow the dramatic mountainous coastline. Pass over a number of rivers and reach the town of Camilo Cienfuegos, named after, I'm not going to say it again, one of the key figures in the Cuban Revolution of 1953 to 1959. I'm getting incredibly warm though, so what I'm going to do is turn my camera off for a very brief second and take my jumper off. Okay, I'm back. Much better. Let's see, this simulator generates so much heat from the computer, and the room just gets really warm really quickly, and you can't wear a jumper whilst dealing with that. Hey Lucky, would you like to go in your place? Good boy. Down. Good boy. If you want a treat, you need to speak to the viewers. They know what to do. We did that one. We did point of interest 30. Okay. Okay, we are now at cruising altitude again. Put the engine power back up a bit. Ooh, that's a bit much. We don't want to get anywhere near those red and white lines. This plane, as I say, does not like that at all. Where are we flying? MCUF, is that? That's UTD, so that's not us. Yeah, we moved away from that anyway, that's fine. So we're heading up and along the coast, no problem. I'm gonna skip this song, I just realised how dancey it is. Outside view, here we go. Let's come down a little bit more. Let's go down to 5. So we'll drop our throttle a little bit, just as we're descending. Don't want to go over speed. It's all dance music tonight, isn't it, on Pretzel? I wonder if I... No, see. If you want to make any kind of selection, pretty much you have to pay for it. I'll try that. Yeah, that's more my style. So just some chill music in the background for when I'm not talking all the time. I have been trying to think about what kind of in-flight entertainment we might offer other than me reading the navlogs, but it's more for when we're not doing bush trips. If we're doing other trips, just normal trips or not the bush trips, we'll need to have a think about how we can do some sort of in-flight entertainment like we were doing the other day on the Asobo community fly-in. But yeah, feel free to join us, depending if you've got this latest world update or not. I say we are coming to the end now of the 5th leg of the Cuban bush trip. So if you wanted to get all set up, started at the starting position of the 6th leg, you could join us in about probably 5 or 10 minutes, maybe less. It will be less, 10 minutes, as we make our way out to the 6th leg. We are now heading to waypoint 31, which is on our approach to the airport. I think I can actually see the airport ahead of me. Continue on a northwest course following the coastline, gain a visual on the bay, and fly to Playa Rancho de Luna, located just to the east of the opening of the bay to the Caribbean Sea. And from there we will have approximately 2 minutes on our approach to the airport. So let's check in on our estimates. 2 minutes and 13 on this leg. We are coming up against a bunch of other people flying today, which is excellent. It's good to see the community is alive and well. People are still flying and experiencing these new updates that Asobo's releasing for us. Let's have a look here. Right, so I need to put the prop back to 100. And back outside. Pull the engine back. It's our turn onto the approach. So let's get set up. For landing. I think I have the runway in sight. Yep. Autopilot off. Let's put a trim in and we will fly this landing. So I don't know how viewers know, but every time I come in for a landing, we have a spike in viewership, and then during the cruise it dies off. But yeah, takeoffs and landings seem to get a spike. I really don't know how that happens, but I'll take it. So let's throttle back. Bring in our first stage of flap. And we're going to intercept a long final on this one. Because I'm way too high, so I'm going to try and drop quite a bit of altitude, but I don't want to overstress the aircraft in doing so. We'll do a bit of a slip. So what you'll see me doing here is I'm pushing the right rudder, and I'm pushing the wings to the left, and what that's doing is that's slipping me through the air. Essentially keeps me flying somewhat straight, but I'm what's called crabbing basically, and allows me to lose altitude without overstressing the aircraft too much. So that's what I'm doing here. This is my rudder controls on the back of the throttle. I'm now going to level off, straighten us back up. Going to bring in my final stage of flaps. And bring her into land. You can see with the lights on the runway that we are still showing as too high on the glide slope. I'm okay with that just now. It's a very long runway, we don't need all of it to stop. If we get... What tends to happen is you end up too high, and then very quickly you become too low. So... If I can land this without having to use the throttle, without putting any more throttle in, I will be delighted. If I have to put throttle in, I will, because I don't want to hit these trees, obviously. So far, we're looking okay on these lights. Still a little bit high. Oh! Oh, 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 oh. Okay, now I'm putting throttle in. See what I say, that's what happens, right? You go from being too high, and then you'll hit a bit of wind shear or something, the airplane will stall, and that's fine. We're still going to land on the markers. Oh, close enough. Yeah, there we go. Wheels down. Easy. Flaps set for takeoff. Stopped. Parking brake on. Okay. 15 minutes, 43% fuel. I'm going to continue with the same fuel. Not going to bother refueling on this leg for 15 minutes. We've got plenty of fuel. Let's just make sure we're set up again. Always worth making sure we're setting up. So on the flight plan, we're going to just activate the next leg. Make sure that our nav is set to GPS. Make sure that our altitude is set to 3000 and our climb out speed 1000 feet per minute. With all of that looking good, propeller up, engine condition is locked, full throttle, park and brake off, airspeed is alive, rotate, positive rate of climb, 400 flaps out, I'll start the gentle turn towards our course myself as we're climbing out. (1000) autopilot on. Gently handing over to autopilot. Flight plan turned off. External camera. Let's go. And let me tell you about Point of Interest 32. So lift off from the airport and set a course to the northwest. Pass over the small village of Venta del Rio and sight Damuji River, located north of the western end of the bay. How many points have we got on this one? 4, including the runway. And it looks like it's a small runway. Okay. No problem. So we're climbing up to our cruising altitude of 3000. So throttle is still full. Everything's looking good. Probably could have taken it in on that last one with the first stage of flaps. I probably didn't need the second stage because the runway was extremely long. This one I probably will need the second stage because that runway looks a lot shorter and thinner. So it will be more of a challenge. Okay, we are approaching cruise altitude. So we'll bring the throttle back. And we will just feather it a little bit. Reduce the stress on the engine. Now there's a nice shot. Let's watch it this way for a little bit. You know what? I might have to open the window. Oh, God, it feels like the heating's on. Why is my heating come on? Last thing I need is my heating on right now. Let's turn that off. Because I'm probably going to have to open this window. Even just a little bit there, just to let some of this heat out. Don't want to overstress my PC either and have the game simulator crash. That has happened to us before. So I've got to maintain the PC that's running everything at the same time as maintaining the aircraft and all the rest of it. So that is our reservoir there underneath us. see me pointing on to the second point of interest on this flight. Here we go, we're making our left turn. This is the 6th flight on the Cuban bush trip. If you're following along with us or you want to fly along with us, we are on the West Europe server, so feel free to jump on and fly with us or harass me or whatever it is you like to do. We are heading towards point of interest 33, and you'll get to laugh at me killing names. Adjust course onto a west-northwest heading over the reservoir. I'm not going to try it. Fly over the agriculture fields and the line of forests. Then sight the town of Aguada? I don't know. Aguada de Pasajeros, located along the A1 motorway. So shout out City Cobra, hashtag 6248. No idea who they are. Chimera Strike. And there's nobody else in this area flying with us tonight. I don't know if they're flying with us or not, but they're certainly on the same server, so I'm giving them a shout out. So yeah, we will probably finish, well, we'll definitely finish the Cuban bush trip tonight, and then there is a third one, I can't remember what it is, that came out in the latest world update. So I guess we'll ask the viewers when we get to that point if we want to do that one from this world update, or if we want to go back and finish the, I want to say Australia? I think it's Australia, the other one that we hadn't finished. And then go on to that one as a fresh bush trip. But I am keen to get all the bush trips done. There's one that I'm not looking forward to. Again, I'd have to... Sorry, I'm going to pause very briefly and look at the activities to tell you. Yeah, it's the Hawaii one. It'll be fun to fly, but there's no autopilot in that plane, so a lot of manual flying. New Zealand is the one that we haven't finished, so we could go back and do that next once we've completed Cuba. Or we can go and do the Haiti one, which is part of the latest world update, but we'll figure that out depending on how long it takes us to finish the Cuban one. Lucky, do you want to go in your place? Come on, go in your place. Good boy. There's a new subscriber, so we'll give you your treat. So thank you for the support. Here you go. Take it. Good boy. Well, let's watch. It'll be the same person as last time it's playing games. Either way, new subscriber, Lucky got his treat. So thank you very much for the support. Shout out to King Ori, hashtag 8718. Just popped up flying in this area. And Wajavkin. I don't think that's a word, I think they just smashed their keyboard. Whiskey Alpha Juliet Alpha Victor Kilo Hotel India November. It's fine behind us. Shout out to all of these simmers. If anyone knows them, give them a shout. Let them know that that they're flying with us live tonight. Lucky down. Good boy. He's looking at me going, is there more where that came from? Oh wow! Subscriber count jumped to 951. We had 2 new subscribers there. I'm not sure what's happening. Is this people telling their friends that we're shouting them out? I don't know. Here we go, Lucky. We'll give you one big. So he's been getting half of one of these, but I'll give him a full one for those 2 new subs. There we go, I'll break it in half, it'll look like 2. There you go, Lucky. We are still heading towards our point of interest 33. Correction, we've just made our turn. So we are now heading towards Calumet. Again, I need a big sign on the stream saying sorry, I don't know how to pronounce these things. Turn onto a northwest heading at Aqua de Pasajeros and parallel the general course of the Circuito Sur highway. Pass to the east of the small town of Amaryllis and then fly over Calumet. Calumet was the location of Battle of Calumet. That was Calumet or Calumet, sorry, which took place on December 29th, 1859 during the Cuban War of Independence. So we fly in this direction for 3 minutes and then we'll have a 3-minute approach to our next airport. If you want to join us, get ready at the final leg. I believe it's leg 7. Someone tell me if I'm wrong. And you can take off and fly with us on the final leg of the Cuban bush trip in approximately 8 minutes. I know it says about 6 here, but I always add 1 or 2 on because I slow down as I come into the approach to land. Good boy. Down. Good boy. Don't know if I called out City Cobra, hashtag 6248. If I didn't, calling you out. And this is Ike's ESF AY. I can't see that username properly because it's been blocked out by City Cobra. But shout out to them. We've got another one, Comitas. It's getting busy in this airspace. If you want to join us, if you're watching the stream and you want to join us, we are on the West Europe server. Say about 6 to 8 minutes away from landing on the 6th leg of the Cuban bush trip. Can't see that Ike's full username. Oh, here we go. Ike's SFAT. That might just be their name. Okay, let's have a look at how we're getting on. 40 seconds away from making our turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start our descent. 500 feet per minute. Pull the engine back a bit. Make sure that we're not feathered. Oh, I can't see the blue thing. Pull that back a bit a second, must make sure we're not feathered. And then back up to about 50%. There we go. And we will begin our descent. Into the Cologne Airport, located on the south side of town. So, as I am expecting this to be a fairly short and thin runway. Let's have a look. Okay, so we could join it on right base, do a right base entry to the circuit, turn on a final. That's going to be our approach. $952, lucky, it's your lucky night. Subs are rolling in tonight. One more half for lucky. Thank you for all the support tonight. No pressure to not screw up this landing now, huh? Did I say 942? I meant 952. Okay, so let's put a bit more speed in. We don't need to be going this slow. We can lose it on the approach. When we get to about 5 nautical miles, I will take control. So as you can see on our nav screen, 5 nautical miles here. So just as we get inside the 5 nautical miles mark, I will take control and line us up for a right base approach. Autopilot off. I'll just quickly go outside, see if I can see the runway. I can't, but I will find it. So let's turn left so we can kind of line ourselves up for what would be more of a right brace approach on this. I'm assuming it may be where King Ori is. King Ori hashtag 8718. So we'll bring ourselves down. Still not got the runway in sight, but I know that it's between the two rivers. So I'll wait another 20 seconds or so, and then we'll make our right turn. Let's start making our turn now. See if we can get the runway in sight. Oh, it's there. Runway in sight. Let's get our first stage of flaps in. Probably to slip it down a bit. So this time I'm doing a left rudder, right stick slip. just to drop a bunch of altitude. That's our call of 500. Put a little bit of power back in, just so we don't stall as we bring her in. Retard, flare, use the rudder just to get us back out towards the center lines. Easy does it. Down, brakes. Flaps set for takeoff. Park and brake. Thank you for another new subscriber, 953. And hello and good evening to you, Swedish Edits. How are you? So I believe this puts us on to the final leg of the Cuban trip. 28 minutes. I am going to refuel whilst I'm on the ground here. Do I backtrack or do I try and take off? I think I may backtrack. Yeah, let's backtrack. Probably would have had enough space, but I'm not going to risk it. So we'll backtrack, and then we will get set up, do our final checks. And we'll be off again. So, let's slow it down. Thank you. Lucky's just had a haircut recently, so he's feeling the cold, but he's feeling the love tonight. We've had, I'm not sure, 5 new subscribers in the stream tonight, which is just excellent, and we appreciate the support. Right, let's get lined up, and then we'll do our checks. You know what they say, any runway behind you is useless runway. It's always better to have as much runway as you can in front of you. So, let's have a look. We want to be pointing to point of interest 35. Check our flight plan. We are, which is good. We can see GPS, which is good. It is pointing. We'll set our altitude to cruising at 3000 again. Climb out speed 1000 feet per minute. Good. Flaps are set, trim is set. Right, let's go. So we're doing a short field takeoff, so you set full power, then take park and brake off. Airspeed's alive. Oh, you would have had plenty of runway, but wasn't worth risking it. Rotation speed. Positive rate of climb. .400 flaps out. Start a gentle turn. Bit more gentle than that. .1000. Autopilot on. Gentle handover. Outside view. Let's go. Heading towards point of interest 35. After lifting off into the Cuban sky at Colon Airport, turn onto a course to the west-northwest and parallel the course of Carretera Central de Cuba, Central Highway of Cuba, to the agricultural town of, I'm going to say it's Hovolanos. Let's have a look around and see if there's anybody new flying with us. I think we've called out them. I think we've called out all of them. Say if you are flying tonight and you want to join us, we're on the West Europe server. And I believe this is the final leg of the Cuba bush trip. So why don't you spam me in the chat and tell me if you want me to move on to New Zealand after this one and finish the New Zealand flights, or if we should do Haiti, however you say it, which is the final bush trip in the Caribbean set of this world update. Estimated time en route, approximately 30 minutes on this leg. Won't be streaming as late tonight as I was last time because I'd say my energy just wasn't able to do it, so probably do about another hour, so probably this flight and one more, finishing up round about midnight UK time today. Cruising altitude, let's pull the engine back. Feather the props a little bit. Okay. So say looking around for new flyers, don't see anybody new. But if you do join us, give us a shout. Have a good evening, Swedish Edits. It was great to have you around. And blue skies. So, what's everybody doing this weekend? Are we all flying, doing more simming, or I think I'm going to be doing some work in the garden. It's getting to that early springtime now in Scotland. We're probably past our last chill now, so gonna go and start getting some seeds out and sort my plants out, clean them up from the winter and all that. But if I get bored, who knows, I may come back on and just continue streaming Flight Simulator. It's fun to take you all on the journey with me. I am still waiting for my local supermarket to get their trees in. One of my trees died last year, so I want to replace it with one from the supermarket, but they've not got them in yet. Okay. We're still on that. We could probably increase power a little bit without overstressing the aircraft. I have to say, with the bush flights, I prefer when we're flying near water. I find flying over land somewhat just, I don't know, less soothing than flying over near water. So as I see these lakes, I'm quite excited that there's lakes coming up here on the right. We are turning on to our second waypoint now. So continue following the Carretera Central to the northwest, passing along the eastern periphery of a small line of forested hills. Continue to the small town of Limona. Limona is located in the heart of the Matanzas province, which stretches from the north to the south of Cuba. Matanzas is one of Cuba's most economically important provinces due to the agriculture and petroleum production. Ooh. There's a new simmer. Not sure I want to call them out though. Their username is Soviet UN Yun. I'm not going to say that in full, but shout out to them. And is that Manny Callan? Is that a new one, Manny Callan over there? That I haven't called out, so shout out to them. I wonder if they are just flying of their own accord over this area, or if they've taken the flight plan from the bush trip but decided to apply it to the plane that they want to fly, rather than the plane that's designated by the simulator and the guys at Asobo. It'd be interesting to find out, or if they are just literally trying to explore Cuba for themselves and whatever their preferred aircraft is. Oh, hi pup. No, sorry. No, nobody else is, nobody's subject. But you are cute. You're still cute. Go on, go in your place. Good boy. Down. Down. Good boy. somebody to remind me. I think that might be a new sub. I think it was. I think it's your lucky night, pup. Thank you. Don't know how to pronounce your username. But RHFBUJJ. I appreciate if you subbed. Appreciate you subbing, and yeah, thank you. So I'm using the Thrustmaster yoke with the separated stick and throttle, and I've got a Stream Deck here that I've got set up as my autopilot controls. And I made the wood wall myself, so I'm very proud of that. I was saying on the last stream, I'm considering turning my desk around to have that directly behind me instead of the blue wall. But my one drawback on that would be that I might have my back to the door of the room, and there's a weird caveman in me that doesn't like having my back to doors. So we'll see if that ever happens. He doesn't know why he's getting these treats. He's just coming to me now going, why am I getting all these treats and how do I get more? Go in your place. Good boy, down, good boy. Right, what are we doing? 312, we're still on point of interest 36. No problem. I like the Thrustmaster, it's done me well. I have been considering doing an upgrade to the Airbus one. But this has done me well. Maybe when we get to 1,000 subs, I'll treat myself to the upgrade. As I say, I need to get a more permanent camera from this angle as well. Perhaps a bit higher, but still shows the controls. Maybe some sort of celebration when we get to the 1,000 sub mark. But this one, yeah, it's done me well. I like that you can separate the thrust and the yoke, or the stick. I don't like the ones that are kind of attached together, because it's less comfortable, especially when you're trying to do any kind of precision approach. Okay, point of interest 37. Let's murder some more names. Matanzas. Maintain heading and gain a visual on Matanzas Bay. The bay is part of the Florida Strait where the water of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean meet. The bay is 100 miles due south of Key West, Florida, one of Cuba's closest points to Florida. The city of Matanzas, the capital of the Cuban province of Matanzas, is located just inland of the western east of the bay. The city boasts a rich culture with a history of poets, musicians and dancers, located just over 50 miles to the east of Cuba's capital. Havana, Matanzas is a popular tourist destination and is home to a variety of museums, theatres and cathedrals. Manny Callan. Shout out to Manny Callan, who's flying in this area with us tonight. There is somebody ahead of them, but I can't read their username because it's being blocked by them. Oh, here's another new one. Wow, we are busy tonight. Sari Valob. So shout out to Sari Valob. How do they stand still? There's no suction cups on these. I've got, it's just rubber pads on the bottom. So you can see here and here there's rubber pads. The rubber pads just kind of stop it from slipping. I have a Secret Labs desk, and the mat on the Secret Labs desk works well with the rubber pads. But Um, generally, the rubber pads, if you're holding on to things, they don't slip. I don't find any slips on this desk, especially when you're trying to interact with them. Generally, it's me moving them around just to get them at the right position that I want them at. But once I'm actually hands-on with the controls, I don't find any slip. Coastal Coops, another new username. So shout out to Coastal Coops, flying the G21. I think I did call it City Cobra. I think I've called it City Cobra a few times now. So if you want to fly along with us, I wouldn't recommend joining now. We are in the middle of the last Cuban boost trip flight. And we're either then going to go on to the New Zealand one or the Haiti one, where we'll do likely one flight, possibly two, there before we end the stream tonight. So if you want to join, I would wait until we're at that point, unless you've got a super fast plane and you can identify where I am. Okay, 263. Turn onto a southwesterly course over Matanzas and follow the general trend of the the central highway, remaining to its north. Past just to the south of the reservoir, continue on course to the town of Aguacate. Is that another new one? Wool I3S. Shout out to Wool I3S. Yeah, I think I've found a playlist on Pretzel I like now. It's just called something like Chill Guitar. Wasn't into the whole Friday night dance music that it was suggesting to me previously. Scooby 1787 has popped up. Shout out to Scooby 1787. Lucky, do you want to go in your place? Good boy. Down. Staring at me like, how do I... Why does sometimes when I sit on my pad that I get treats and sometimes I don't? He's looking at me. What's the trick here? What do I have to do? $954 has to say 955, Lucky. That's what has to happen. You had a lot of treats tonight. Viewers are big fans of yours tonight, Lucky. And we thank you for all the support. Oh, there was another new one. S5 Gaming SOS. So shout out to them. I've already called them out, I think I've called everybody out. We are now still on our heading of 263. So 5, 10, 12, 14, 15 minutes to run on this, what I believe is the final leg of the Cuban flight. Yes, bringing the Cuban flight to an end, yep. put back on the engine a little bit, 'cause it's getting a little bit excited and close to that. Overspeed warning, don't like that. We are now turning in 271. Continue on a westward track and sight Mamposton Reservoir in the distance. Fly over the center point of the reservoir and pass over the city of San Jose de las Lajas. San Jose is the capital of Mayabeque province, which was formed on January the 1st, 2011, after the Cuban government separated it from another province. Artesma province from the former La Habana province. San Jose de las Lajas is an important educational, commercial and industrial center for Cuba. Yeah, nice idea. There's been a bunch of landing challenges that have been released since I did the last stream of landing challenges. One of my first streams of Flight Sim 2020, I think I did all the landing challenges on it, but there is a bunch of new ones. So yeah, more than happy to do it. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the best at hitting the target every time and getting the highest scores, but I can usually get it on the runway. So yeah, happy to. As I say, my priority right now is to complete all the bush trips in the game. Once I've done that, yeah, happy to do some landing challenges. I've also seen that some of these sort of third-party content add-on companies have done some challenges where they take you through aircraft failures in flight, and how to manage and mitigate those. I had considered purchasing those and going through those on a stream, or on a series of streams, because I think that could be fun to see how we handle failures mid-flight and stuff. So when we start heading to point of interest 40, I will start our descent into our final landing on this bush trip. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, have a good evening, mate. Hopefully you'll join us in future streams. There's a lot of people flying up near I assume to be near the airport that we're coming into. I can't see all the names to call them out. I think I've called out most of them. Although there's one that starts with PT that I can't see. Oh, there's a new one, Decani0408. I hope that's not his phone's PIN code. But it probably is his date of birth. PT Nando. Shout out PT Nando, who's flying in the area with us tonight. If you want to join us, I wouldn't suggest joining this flight. Let's wait till we start the next one. I've not had any feedback in the comments, so I think what I'm going to do is go back and do the New Zealand, finish up some more of the New Zealand bush flight, and we'll keep the Haiti one for the next stream after this. Had I called out Manic Callan before? I'm not sure. If not, shout out to Manic Callan. I think I enjoyed this one, the Cuban one, more than the it's bad, I forget which one we did last time now. Somebody remind me. But, you know, I felt a little bit cheaty last time where we were flying the seaplane and there was no reason to really be flying it because you didn't land in any of the water. We did a touch and go so that we felt we had made a use out of the seaplane features, but it wasn't part of the bush trip, so I felt a little bit cheated out of that. This one at least makes a bit more sense. Okay, 308 Havana. At San Jose, turn onto a northwest heading and follow the central highway into Havana. Havana is Cuba's capital and most populous city with a population of over 2.3 million people. The city was founded in the 16th century on the bay that is today Havana Harbor, the country's busiest port. Havana was a tremendously important port for the Spanish due to its location, and it became one of the New World's most important centers of trade. Since its founding, Havana has grown into a national center of industry and education. The city is renowned for its varied architecture, including El Morro Castle, which stands at the entrance to Havana Bay, and Havana Cathedral. We will wait till we are 2 minutes to run on this one, and then we will start our descent into landing. We are currently 3 minutes. So, we will wait another 2 minutes. Sorry, 2 minutes 50. Another 2 minutes, then we'll start our descent. I did call out PT Nando, didn't I? Yes. Yep, called out everybody. Excellent. Looks like S5 Gaming SOS is either coming in for a landing, or he's doing stunts or something, because he's descending super fast. Okay, how are we doing? 1 minute. Okay, another minute to go and we'll start our descent. Get prepped, so we'll set 2000 as our target altitude. We'll set our vertical speed. minus 500 feet per minute. Got a bit of low-level fog on the approach this evening, which shouldn't cause us any problems. Change the target altitude to 1500 because we've been coming in a bit high the last couple. Oh, we are turning on faster than I thought. We are turning on to our approach to land. Let's increase our rate of descent. Not 1300, 1000. This should be a straight in by the looks of it. So let's start slowing down. I'm looking for it. Drop down to 1000. I'm looking for it. I'm assuming it's where Scooby is. I think I see it. Let's a quick look outside. It should be a massive runway. Okay, I have it in sight. Autopilot off. First stage of flaps. Nose down. Try for that stall. .500. Turning on to final. Runway is clear. We're gonna miss the mark, but we'll have plenty of time to stop, so I'm not concerned. Wheels down. Brakes. Flaps reset. And there we have it. that is the end of the Cuban bush trip. I say we're gonna now get back. We're gonna leave Haiti for the and the Dominican Republic for the next stream, and I think what we're gonna do is go back and do the next leg of the New Zealand one. Yeah, about half an hour. That'll take us to about midnight, which is when I said I was going to stop the stream. So let's go do that. Let me update the name of the stream. New Zealand. Save. Make sure I spell that correct. Yes. Okay, cool. Right. So, same story. Oh, parking brake's not on. This is a tail dragger. Everybody remind me this is a tail dragger when we come into land, because I'm gonna put the brakes on too hard. Right. Let's get set up. And where it ends at GT, so we want to activate this one. I want to put nav on. We want to set our cruising altitude to 5,000. Climate 1,000 as usual. And let's get it off the ground. So again, short field takeoff. So full throttle, then brakes off, airspeed's alive, rotate, positive rate of climb, .400 flaps out. Wow, this one climbs fast. 1,000, autopilot on. Gentle handover. Good. Outside view. We'll keep an eye on this because those mountains look quite high. Well, let's check the nav log. So, after lifting into the sky from Glen Tanner Aerodrome, begin gaining altitude and follow the course of the Tasman River to the Tasman Lake. Tasman Lake formed with the retreat of the Tasman Glacier, the terminus of which lies at the north end of the lake. Tasman Glacier, which originates near the summit of Aoraki, Mountain Cook, is the longest glacier in New Zealand at over 14 miles. I'm going to quick scan down here and see if it... Yeah, 10,000. Okay, so let's set our target altitude at 10,000. We'll increase our rate of climb. We'll see if there's anything else higher than 10,000 on our route that we need to be concerned about. No, all looks fine. Oh, it lied. It said this was 23 minutes, and then in game it's now, sorry, in sim I should say, it's saying 46 minutes. So we'll overrun our midnight by a little bit, but that's fine. This will be the final flight of the stream today. so we're making a speedy climb to about 10,000 feet. That'll make sure we're above all the peaks around us, in case our flight plan takes us over the top of one of them. Now, I don't see anybody else flying around here. I remember flying into this one. I remember thinking that water looked amazing as we were coming in. We came in from the... what would that be in relation to us? The west? The west over these mountains at the end of the last leg, and then over the water and into the landing. That was a really, really nice approach. I don't particularly like how Asobo have kind of made the... what did they say, this was a glacier in the middle here look. For a bush flight, it kind of doesn't fit with the rest of the landscape. It looks particularly flat. So it kind of looks like the water's above the land, which doesn't really make sense. But I guess they weren't too worried about getting this right. More worried about the peaks and the mountains. Gonna increase my vertical speed again because I just feel like we're not getting there quick enough. Let's try 2,000 feet a minute. We've got enough power in this engine to climb quite quickly. I would love to go flying in New Zealand. It's another one of those halfway around the world journeys for me. Like we did Japan last year. It's a lot of time to get out there. Between 1 and 2 days just to get there. And then, you've got to have enough time to make it worth doing that. You don't want to go for, like, take a week's holiday, 2 days travelling out, 2 days travelling back, and you don't go there for a few days. You've got to make it worth your while if you're going to do it. Okay, let's pull back, we're leveling off. I don't want to overstress the aircraft. And we'll put a bit of a feather into the prop as well. This prop is way overpowered for what we need. Okay, we're making a turn onto course of 358. Continue gaining altitude and enjoy the spectacular views of ridges, peaks, icefalls, hanging glaciers, crevices, moraines, I don't know, and cirques of the section of the southern Alps. Pass to the east of Iraqi, Mount Cook, and its neighbours, and then pass over the Minaratis. Twin peaks that are respectively 9,970 and 9,944 feet above sea level. I think I'm actually going to climb another 1,000. Just so we've got clearance from those peaks. Make sure we've got our pressure set correctly, but it looks like it's using standard for the push trips, which is fine. Leveling off, pull the engine back. This plane did seem a bit more open to abuse last time I flew it though than the Caravan, so it probably can sit in the yellow. Certainly wouldn't want to get anywhere near the red though. In terms of airspeed, for not for any long period of time anyway. New Zealand looks amazing. I wouldn't want to get trapped in the middle of all these mountains though. Not without a vehicle or anything to get me out. Pup's coming over for some attention. Come on then, up you come. Up. Up. Say hi to the people. You won't stay up for very long. But yeah, look into that camera. Tell me you want more. Tell me you want more treats. Now you're looking at the wrong camera. Closer. Try that one. There we go. So we're flying over the peaks now. Change the angle just so you can kind of see how close to the peaks we get as we fly over them. Yeah, nobody's doing this bush flight tonight. Everybody's in the Caribbean. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'll change the angle again. Oh, well, he's getting restless. Go on then, pup. Oh. Go in your place. Good boy. Down. Good boy. So, Waiho River. After passing over the mountains which lie at the crest of the highest aspect of the Southern Alps, turn onto a northwest coast and sight the lowlands and the Tasman Sea in the distance. Pass over the Geikie snowfield and past a number of small peaks, including the Newton Rocks and Crawford Knob. Pass by the terminus of the Franz Joseph Glacier and fly over the forested terrain by Mount Gunn, and sight the Waiho River, which is fed by the meltwater of the Franz Joseph Glacier. Go back in your place, pup. Back. Good. Down. Good boy. I believe once we pass these peaks we can descend. I don't think we'll be coming back over them again. Like, it doesn't usually take you over the peaks twice in one flight. I'd say we went over these peaks the other way in the last flight, and now it's taking us back out to the coast. So I can probably start a gentle descent. What do we think? 6,000 down 500 feet per minute. Pull the engine back a bit to compensate for that. The thing with bush fights is you want to be down low, you don't want to be flying them up high. And for the next community fly-in with a Sobo, I'm going to look at what kind of faster small plane we can fly instead of flying the airliner. That will keep up with the rest of the team flying. That way we can do the touch and goes and everything else with everybody, rather than the airliner just following the straight line to the destination. Okay, making our next turn. Once over the river, turn north and sight Lake Mapurika in the distance. Must be that one up ahead. It's interesting that my mouse on my screen and my mouse on the stream are not in the same place. I don't know why that is. My mouse is much further down and to the right on my screen than it is on the OBS stream window. Not entirely sure why that is. I can put a bit more power in. Try 60. I want to be right on the edge of the yellow speed marker. Yeah, I did. There was one of the fights with the New Zealand one with this plane. I forgot it was a tail dragger, so I landed it and just put the brakes on. Bad idea. It stopped and then it just face planted. That was a real nightmare. Because you can't do that with these tail draggers. You've got to kind of brake, stop, brakes, release, and really bring its speed down slowly. Otherwise, the momentum just kind of throws it over its nose. Just not great. Down. Down. Goodbye. I'll probably descend a bit faster. Pull the throttle back. Come down at 1,000 feet per minute. And now we are turning on to point of interest 33. Turn to the northwest once at the Lake Mapurika to sight the Watarua River in the distance. The river, fed by meltwater of the glaciers of the Southern Alps, is renowned for its whitewater rafting and forms into a distinct braided pattern in its lower reaches on its course to the Tasman Sea. Follow the general course of State Highway 6 from Lake Mapurika to reach Watarua River. I love flying up the coast like this. It reminds me when I was doing my flight training, I would quite often fly from Dundee in Scotland, either south to Edinburgh and the bridges at Edinburgh, or north up to Aberdeen. And so I was always flying up and down the coast with the water on one side of me. So yeah, doing a trip like this really kind of takes me back to my flight training days as a student. Never did fly a tail dragger though in real life, so that's a new one. I'm not sure I would want to. I'd be afraid of landing it. But I do want to try one of those gyrocopter things. Or potentially even like a fan kite type thing with so it's like the, I don't know what you would call it, but the kite with the big fan behind it anyway. Those seem like a lot of fun to fly. If you do any flying yourself, why don't you tell me in the chat what type of aircraft you trained in and what you're flying? That'll be interesting. So there's nobody to call out here in New Zealand. Nobody else is flying around in the New Zealand area. When we were doing Cuba, there was a load of people flying in the Cuban area. But New Zealand's quiet. The airspace is open and free to do what we want. Okay, we're approaching our assigned cruise altitude. So we will just set the engine power again. We're still on 034. Let's see, are we landing? Yeah, it's tarmac. Fine. Not a fan of trying to find the grassy runways in this game. So asphalt runways are better in the bush trips in my opinion. They're easier to see, easier to find. And just, yeah, makes the experience just a little bit better. But I guess it reduces the challenge, so depends what you're looking for. Pull the engine back a little bit. What I might do is feather actually instead of that. Bring the prop back just a little bit. Yeah, that'll do me. Not sure I like how unstable the prop looks in the front of this plane. But I do like the livery on it. It's very cool. Okay. 21. That was that one, right? Was before? Yes. So now we're heading towards Lake Ianth. Continue on a northeasterly course following the corridor of State Highway 6 to reach Lake Ianth, which lies just a few miles inland from the Tasman Sea. Time to run on this flight, we're looking at 7, 11, 14, 20, 24, 25 minutes left to run on this flight and therefore this stream this evening. I do appreciate all the support we've had tonight. Lucky appreciates all his treats. And I do hope that in the future we can build a community together where we do fly-ins and we all come together on the same server and and fly as a community of simmers. So if you want to take part in that, then that's another reason to subscribe, because I'll be announcing sort of community fly-ins and things like that on the community page or chat sort of section of my YouTube channel ahead of it, to let everyone know when and where we'll be flying when we start planning those. But we need to build up more of a community before we get there. I appreciate it's coming up on midnight. We're probably going to see a drop off of viewership now. So I just want to thank everybody who has watched tonight for giving me their time, and hope you have enjoyed the stream. As I say, we have got about 25 minutes left to run, but it's getting late for many of you and you'll be going to bed, so thank you for joining us and hope we'll see you in a future stream. Down. Lucky down. Goodbye. Having that window open has cooled the room down quite a bit. It's still really warm, but it has cooled the room down quite a bit. I think we dropped down again. Let's drop down to 4,000. Because once we get over this lake, we will be making a left turn, so we're not going to be heading over that mountain. So I don't need to worry too much about having a ton of altitude. It might be a weird noise in the music, but it can make me concerned about noise in the house. But I think it was just noise in the music that threw me. I'm going to skip the song just to be sure. Oh wow, we are running low on fuel. Somebody remind me to refuel when we land. This push type does not auto refuel you at the start of every mission like some of them do. I should have checked that before I took off. We should be fine for 25 minutes. I don't like doing fake mid-air refueling. So I'm not going to do that. I am going to, I mean, unless we get down to like 1% and we have no choice. But I'd like to see us do this properly, so you can only refuel when you're on the ground. You know, even if that meant that we had to find an airport between where we're heading and where we are, land, refuel, take off, and then complete the bush leg. That's what I would prefer to do. Make it more realistic than just mid-air refueling. So here we go, heading on a course of 015. Follow State Highway 6 to Kakapathai, a popular tourist destination in this part of New Zealand. engine power back up now that we're at our new assigned cruise altitude. Don't want this fight to take any longer than it has to. Really am starting to get nervous about that fuel level though. It should be fine, give it 20 minutes to run. I think we should be okay with 18%. But yeah, I should have checked that fuel level on the ground before I took off. That's my mistake. Just pulling it back the engine a little bit, just so we don't go too far into the yellow speed. Out to the coast. I'm not worried about the mountains. I said I don't think we're going to come over those anymore. So that's all good. Has anybody watching been to New Zealand? See, I think Australia and New Zealand would be one of the next places I want to go and see. Now that we've done Japan. But that may be a few years before I can make that happen. Depending on what happens in my life. Turning now back to 021. We'll be in no time. Maintaining a northwest heading and following the course of State Highway 6, fly over the Mikuni River, just a few miles inland of where it meets the Tasman Sea. Just have a quick look here, and we'll check internally. Yeah, I'm happy that we're not going to have any problems with these mountains. Yeah, we'll be fine. So, usual deal, once we get onto the final, or the penultimate point of interest, we will begin our descent into land. We'll start getting ourselves lined up and into the pattern altitude, or as we would call it here in the UK, the circuit altitude. I watch too many American shows, so I use the word pattern. But we would call it circuits here in the UK. I'm not planning an overhead join, we will just join likely on base and then turn final. Depending on the angle of the runway to where we are, we might go straight in for a long final. Okay, that's us now turning on to our penultimate waypoint. Pull back the engine a little bit. Skirt the coastline of the Tasman Sea to reach Lake Mahinapua. So let's drop us down to 2000. We'll try 2000. That might be too low. Because I don't believe New Zealand is at sea level. So I might need to pull it back up a bit, but we'll try 2000. I think ground level's at like 1400, so what we might do is... oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. This plane doesn't play nice with the autopilot controls I have. 2003, I want 2004. Yep. And then set my vertical speed. Perfect. really pull back now. Set the prop to full, just to make sure it doesn't feather out. Three minutes left on this, and then we will have 3 minutes on the approach. And the approach is 010, so it might be a straight in. We'll have a look at that in a second. Can we see that yet? We can't see it yet. We could set this to 4 nautical miles, yeah. That's still not telling us what we want to see. So we're too far out, which is fine. Looking ahead to see if I can see the runway, which I can't. I've realised I need to set up a cough button on my autopilot. Probably take away some of the buttons I never use. Move a cough button in there. So that's fine. 1 minute 36. We're at our altitude, so we can bring the power back now to 70%. Power along. Hi, pup. Yeah, it's nearly bedtime for you. What, less than 10 minutes, pup, we'll be finishing the stream. Pull that engine back because it was rapidly going into the yellow. There we have it. We are now on our approach to land. So let's see how we look. Okay, looks like we can come for a long final approach. Straight into a long final. And it's just at the other end of this river. I have it in sight actually, so autopilot off. Start pulling us back. Remind me, I've got 2 stages of flaps. Definitely have it in sight now. So let's maneuver for final. As we do, I will thank everyone for joining the stream tonight. Appreciate all the new subscribers. I hope you join us on future streams. If you have enjoyed the stream, please do remember to like and subscribe so get notified about all future streams. Where possible, we will be doing those on Friday evenings, most weeks, and potentially one other night during the week as well. I want to start building a community, so if you know anybody who does sim, let's start flying together. Next stream will be either the community flying with Asobo next Friday, or if I do one earlier than that, we'll do the Haiti, or Haiti, or however you say it, bush flight, or at least we'll make a start on it. Because I might just continue the New Zealand one by myself offline. So, no pressure, Miles. Just don't screw up this final landing of the stream. That'd be embarrassing. I am going to want full flap, because I want as much drag as possible once I touch down to reduce my distance to stop, especially with a tail dragger like this. Because I can't just slam on full brakes, because we'll just hit the nose into the ground. So, final full flap, 500. Add a little bit of power, even though it says I'm too high, just so we don't stall on that final approach in. Okay, flare. Wheels down, brake, hold the stick right back, release the brakes, brakes on again, 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 release the brakes. Stopped, parking brake on, flap set for takeoff. Nice. I don't think it will remember this, so somebody remind me on the next flight that I need to refuel if we're doing the New Zealand one, although I say I might finish it myself offline. With that, thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. Thank you for the new subscribers, and have a great weekend. See you next time.